Welcome to the Fashion is Cool podcast, where we explore fashion's business side and the entrepreneurs behind it. Hosted by Dwight Carter, your guide to diverse careers and inspiring stories in fashion.
What's up, everyone? My name is Dwight Carter, and I am the owner of Brainchild Next and your host for the Fashion is Cool podcast. Today, we welcome Ayo Adeniran from Vaps Dynasty Clothing. Vaps Dynasty Clothing is a bespoke tailoring and design brand. They uniquely handcraft all items to their clients. And I'm just going to let you kind of give a background of the company and how it got started.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Dwight, for having me on your show. Vaps Dynasty Clothing. Some people say I'm the brainchild behind it, but it's actually bigger. It's bigger than me. It started really because I play by trade soccer. So does my younger brother, and my father did as well. So sports is a big part of our family. My brother played basketball. My sister played basketball. So my mom was always of the mindset is like, okay, if these boys are gonna be professionals, then they have to look good. So it started off just her wanting to have us looking good, but then also not forgetting where we come from in terms of our culture. So trying to fuse the two, which is fashion and looking good and being presentable wherever you go and wherever you're seen, but also fusing our culture, which originates back in Nigeria. We're from Nigeria originally, which is in West Africa, and we're originally from the southwest part of Ogun State, to be precise. Abeokuta is the city where my mom is from, and where my dad was kind of adopted to, even though he's from a town called Idem. Yeah, so putting our culture together with fashion, as well as our culture, our American culture, trying to incorporate and fuse all of them together is really how it started. She actually just made us 2 pieces of garments, which were like, we have a fabric back in Nigeria called Ankara. It's not just in Nigeria, in a lot of West Africa, called Ankara. And so she made a blazer out of it. You could say like a blazer is more of a, whether European or Western world type of clothing. So she used our fabric, local fabric, and made it into a blazer. And we wore it to a wedding, and everybody was just kind of like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, you like those? Like, where'd you guys get this? You guys looking so sharp. And then, just after that wedding, we just kind of, I sat down and thought about it, and she did also. And it was like, people would like these things because there's a lot of Nigerians and West Africans and Africans in general in the States, but also just people from any culture that just can identify with the style, the fabrics, the ability to express themselves through their clothes. So we just thought of the idea, it's like, man, maybe we can sell these to people, produce them and sell them. So that was just kind of how we started, just with 2 blazers that were made. Then got in, did a bit of research. She did a lot of research as well in terms of tailors back home in Nigeria, and finding and sourcing out some ones that could catch our vision and understand our vision and bring it to life through clothing. And then it was a gradual process of trying and trial and error with different people until we found one specific guy. And it started, like I said, we really started this thing from the bottom and from scratch. So it started with one person with one machine, just making a few clothing designs and a few of in different styles and prints and cuts. And then from there, it grew into what it is now, which is we have our own factory or production warehouse, where we have our head tailor who oversees. He has some junior tailors, but overseeing about 20 something, maybe 25 tailors on the men's side. And then we have a women's side that's growing. There's about maybe 6 to 7 of them. There's also a head tailor that oversees some of the tailors that are under her and bring everything to life.
So are there any unique techniques that you guys use as far as putting your designs together, like cultural techniques? I don't know. Specific.
So in Nigeria, and I could say in Africa in general, embroidery is a very big thing. So as you see the pocket of my outfit, which is called a kaftan. The whole thing is the top and bottom. You have embroidery, so there's different forms of embroideries. There's what you could call digital embroidery, which is they've gone really advanced to where they have an embroidery machine that's attached to a computer, so you can create all the designs on the computer, and then it's brings it to life through needle and thread and the machine, like a sewing machine. But then it creates every single detail of the design into the clothes or into a fabric. But then we also have what we call ishawa, which is like handwork. So we have somebody that still uses a sewing machine, but he has to direct every intricacy using his hands. So it's really like the person on the machine's mind that brings the embroidery to life. And that is the kind of older technique. Even before that, it was done strictly only with hand and a sewing and hand and thread and needle. So we still have some people that do that. That requires a lot of time and effort. So that's one of the specialty types of pieces. Yeah, embroidery is something that is big in our type of clothing. We have different styles of buttons, whether it could be like fabric buttons. We use swords, steel, or kind of stones that we can use also for the buttons. We also have different local fabrics that we use to make. We can mix and match local fabrics with contemporary fabrics, which is really just like cashmere wool is what we call it. But there's different grades and levels to it. You have the simpler and then the more high, more expensive premium grades of every fabric. As you know, even with a suit, there's different grades of fabric. So yeah, there's a lot of different types. There's a lot of different techniques to making the clothes, a lot of different styles. So yeah, that's just kind of simplified version.
Okay. So you said you started with one sewing machine and now you have a factory. What were the challenges in between that and starting this business?
Challenges. Well, like everything, you need funding to do everything. Money is, like they say, makes the world go round. So money is important. But I tried to, and the family tried to be strategic in the way we set things up. Like, no pun intended, by cutting our clothes according to our size. So we did things gradually. We didn't want to have hundreds and tens of thousands of dollars up front. So we started kind of like, okay, we do one item, we sell that, then maybe from the proceeds of that, we can do a few more items, then sell that. Everything is bespoke, so it's not ready-made. That actually is tasking as it may seem, helps on the capital side because you don't have a bunch of inventory that's just sitting around that you had to pay up front for, and then now you're trying to scramble to sell it. So the bespoke side, which is part of the reason why we initially went into that side, is because number one, you could personalize it. You can let everybody feel like their attire, their garment is not just only feel, it is personal to you. You have a hand in picking the color, the type of fabric, the thread that's in the fabric. It's made to your measurements. You take the measurements. You have a hands-on. You can take a hands-on approach to your garment, and some people don't want to have that much involvement. They just have something that they see that they like, and they would like that. But we still do it to your specific measurements, so it's supposed to fit on you, like you was born in, and you were born in it, or it was made for you, because it is made for you.
So do you have, how many people in your family are involved in
well, everybody's involved in certain capacity. I guess I would say my immediate family. So there's 6 of us, 2 of my parents and 4 children, and our immediate family. Now we have, my parents have grandchildren now, but they're still really little, so all we can use them for is baby modeling at the moment. But yeah, so my parents have their functioning. My mom is very good at logistics. She'll call herself, and we call her the logistics boss of things. She really is good at making sure that everything is where it needs to be and how it needs to be. My dad is really kind of like the wisdom of the group. People go to him as like we have his ideas. And he was really patient and thoughtful in thinking about things and thinking about the short-term and long-term implications of anything you want to do. So he has that role, as well as he has no problem doing runarounds, going to mail stuff and do that kind of stuff. Then my siblings, Samuel, as people in St. Louis will know him, plays for St. Louis City. We use him, he's the baby of the family, but we use him as our guinea pig model. So he wears everything and takes pictures and does that sort. My sister, and I'm explaining everybody one by one because it kind of ties into actually the name of the company. My sister, Pelumi is her name, her local traditional name. Victoria is her English name. She is similar to my dad. She's wise, and even though she's my nemesis, she's wise, and she's a mama now. So she has that mother wisdom, and she is somebody you can go through and bounce ideas off. And she's also good at getting the word out and also telling you, has a pulse on what's going on in culture and in fashion a bit, and tells you, okay, these are what the people are looking at now, this is what they're looking for. And then my older brother, who's the firstborn, he's a psychologist, he's a father of twins, he's a lawyer, graduated from law school. And so he is very good at the information aspect, whether it comes to real estate, if we're trying to purchase anything, whether it comes to law, whether it comes to contracts and agreements and anything in that aspect. He is the person just having information in general. If you have a question and it's information to be looked up, researched, to known, he's the one we go to. And yeah, me, I'm just I guess I would say I'm the head in a way, not really, because I consider my father the head of the family and head of everything, but just kind of one in the forefront of making sure things are the way, and a lot of the ideas I have is what I present to everybody, and then we kind of put our heads together and try to figure out, okay, is this work? Because I can't know everything. We try to figure out, is this a good idea? Will this be beneficial? Will it be profitable? Will it help put our brand and our culture in the best light and our family in the best light? Because everything we do inevitably reflects us as a family, reflects the brand, and reflects our culture. So that's very important. So I just try to, oversee and make sure things are going in the right direction.
So what does Vaps mean?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, Vaps is actually the first letter of every one of my siblings' names, and including myself.
That's what I thought.
In order of age. So Victor is my older brother. Then A is Ayo for me. P is Pelumi for my sister, and then S is for Samuel, that everybody knows is the last one. So that's how it is. And Dynasty Clothing, why that's significant? Some people might just think I didn't pick the name, but our last name is Adeniran, which in our language, in Nigeria Yoruba language, is the crown. Ade is a crown, so it signifies royalty, and it said the crown has worth, has meaning, has a deep meaning. So we have the focus of Dynasty Clothing, which is always growing up, we want to leave a legacy, whether through our parents who started it, and then through the children, and then now the grandchildren, leaving a legacy like dynasties of old ages, whether it's Roman dynasty, the Melt dynasty, all those kind of things. We wanted to leave a legacy in everything that we did, and Vaps is just one aspect of us doing that through our culture, through hard work, through perseverance, through knowing where we came from and what we came from, and being able to put that on display to the company, and through everything we do. So that's how the name came to be, from all the names of the children, but then also based on our language and our culture of being royalty, wearing the crown, and having a dynasty that will live on long and far past all of us.
So you're in Dallas right now. right?
Houston, Texas, actually.
Houston, Texas. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So is it? Where would you say your home base? Is it Nigeria? Is it just
No.
kind of?
So everything is where it's a U.S. based company in Houston.
Okay.
Everything is the headquarters or whatever you want to call it. We're not like Google or anything. We don't have like some major headquarters. At least
Someday you will.
someday my Vaps it'll be based in Houston, but we just do some of our, not everything, but most of our production is done in Nigeria because a lot of what we use is based on local authentic fabric. So being able to get that and also the craftsmanship really can't be beaten unless only it can't be beaten, and it's the best locally in Nigeria. We've done a lot of work in putting our team together and gradually over time setting up the framework to have the quality that we would like, and we only hope to get better, have the quality of material, of craftsmanship, and we are able to do that through the setup that we had back in Nigeria in terms of the production of the clothes. But everything is shipped and delivered to the customer from the US, from Houston, Texas, or you'll see that Houston at last. Yes, and that's how it is.
So walk me through a customer. So they want is it that they see something in your site that they want to have something similar, or do they come in with their own, like, I would like a suit that looks like A, B, and C? How does that work? What's the beginning and end to that?
To be honest, question, either way is possible. You can see something on our website or Instagram or any media platform that you see, whether we've made it or even if somebody else has made it and you just have it as a design inspiration. We don't like to, and we stay away from copying people's designs or anything, but obviously the customer wants what the customer wants, so we'll just tell them, okay, we put our spin on it. If you brought something from outside that you didn't see that we've made before. So I always like to say everything that you see on our website or on our Instagram was made for somebody for the most part. So it's just different designs that maybe we created for somebody or somebody created in conjunction with us, or they asked us to make because some people are artistic or they have already what they would like. And so they gave it to us and we try to do our best to bring it to life. So to walk you through a customer, so they could contact us via our website or via WhatsApp or email, and they could say, okay, I have this function in a month or whatever the case may be. I need to have a certain type of, whether a suit or African native attire made. It needs to be this color. I have this design that I've seen somewhere that I want to use kind of like an inspiration. So they'll send us just the initial contact in email or WhatsApp or through DM on social media. And then we'll set up a consultation with them, which is like a video format consultation or by phone, whichever one you're more comfortable with. And then we'll just, one of our representatives will kind of walk them through all the details that we need to get from them. Initially would be knowing what exactly they want to make. Then from there, we'll need to set up them having their measurements taken. If they're local to us in Houston, we have a shop that they can come into and somebody will be there to take the measurements. If they're not local, if they're at a distance, then we have a Vaps measurement guide that we have. And we advise you to take it to maybe a professional or your local alteration shop where they can help you take the measurements. It's really simple. Or you can do it at home if you have somebody. We just ask that you follow the instructions to the letter. But again, they're pretty simple. Just if you follow the instructions, you shouldn't have an issue. Then we also take, we'll ask you to send, if you're not local, just photos of yourself of 3 different angles: front angle, side angle, and back angle, just so that we have your measurements in conjunction with your picture, so that we know the shape and the contour of your body to make sure that it lines up with how we're going to do the cutting and the sewing of your clothes. Because measurements say one thing, but sometimes people's actual bodies, the image of their body or them being there physically, to show you that, okay, we need to take a little in here or give a little room here, just so that because it's bespoke. I mean, and it's high-end clothing, but we also want you to be comfortable. So we try to cross every T and dot every I in that regards to making it that it fits you as perfectly as possible. So after we get your measurements, then we sit down with you to put your design together, whether through given images that you sent, or just if you want us to draw something up quickly in terms of little specific details like embroidery, or you have examples that you've seen on our website. So the representative will have that consultation with you, get your design together, get your measurements. Then we do our job, which is to bring it to life. And then after we've done the work of bringing your item to life, we take a picture and then we'll send it to you. That's while it's still in our warehouse. We'll send it to you for your confirmation of that. Is this what you envisioned? Is this the way it looks? Is that what you were looking for? And once you give us the okay, then we will then send it over to our headquarters here, and then finish the final quality checks. And we also do quality checks before it's sent, because that's a far distance for us to get here and then find out there was an issue. So we do a quality check there before it leaves the factory. Then we do one again when it gets here. Then we package it up, and then if you're local, you can come and pick it up at the store. If you would like us to deliver it, we'll deliver it to you, or it can be mailed to you, in our specific packaging.
Great.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. Obviously, there's the financial side that goes into it, where we send you an invoice and you pay for the invoice. Normally, what we do is that there's an initial deposit that's paid after we've gotten your measurements and the design has been finalized. There's a deposit that's paid, and before it's delivered, then the balance is paid, and then it will be delivered, shipped, or ready for pickup. So that's pretty much how it goes.
And how many markets do you cater to?
Yeah, so we have the States. We actually, funny enough, people are surprised. We don't actually sell too much in Nigeria, or because that's a really saturated market and not that we could. But also for the sake of allowing our countrymen to have their reign and the country, and to leave that area. But also outside of Nigeria, I've known, because a big thing for us is weddings. So our traditional Nigerian or African weddings. So that's a big part of our brand. And we have wedding packages that you wouldn't believe. It's from it's from pretty much setting up your wedding for you to having one item of clothing. Setting up your wedding, when I say that, we can traditionally in Nigerian weddings, the traditional side, you have the groom's family, the bride's family, and they all have their own unique attire that they wear and own unique colors. So part of our packages is to dress like maybe the whole groom side, which can be from 5 people to 500 people, and then also or dressing the bride side, which again could be from a few people to hundreds of people, even thousands of people if necessary. Yeah, so we do that. So we've done some weddings in countries like Ghana and Tanzania and East Africa, Sierra Leone. So they've heard about us and got in contact with us, and we supplied all the clothing for their wedding. We also work in conjunction with other businesses, and we have other like subsidiary businesses that work in wedding things, like producing souvenirs for you for your wedding to be able to give to your gift. We can give to your guests as gifts, giving you fabric, because we have fabric sellers that we work with. So we have a pretty extensive wedding package that if anybody that's interested in, we could help you from start to finish when it comes anything pertaining to clothing and your wedding reception, all those sorts of things. So
That's pretty cool. I don't know anybody else that does that.
yeah, it's
you have your normal, the bride goes get a dress and then they pick out kind of the similar, bridesmaids dresses, and
Yeah,
the
yeah,
male goes gets his black tux and that's it. But
yeah, yeah,
that sounds cooler
yeah, yeah.
the way you describe it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, let me not take too much of the credit. It's a cultural thing. It's a thing in Nigeria where they call it Asoebi, which
Right.
translates to clothes of the family. So for any Nigerian traditional wedding, you will have inside of the family that picks specific fabrics that they want their side of the family to wear. But generally, what they do is they'll get the fabric from a supplier and then give it to all the individual members of the family and allow them to go and to their own specific tailors and make the clothes that they want individually. As long as you use the fabric for the family, you can make it however you want. We just kind of shortcut that in a way, in the sense that, or just long cut it for ourselves, but kind of take that whole process and take it out of your hands and take the stress out of your hands, and we do it ourselves. So we'll work with the bride's family to pick a fabric that they would like for their family. So they pick that fabric, and then we will contact their guests that want to have something made. You still have the choice of, you can just get the fabric and make it on your own. But if we've done a wedding, like that was actually in Las Vegas, where they were like, we want Vaps to do the wedding for everybody, their guests. Well, the guests that sign up and say they would like to, because they had a lot of guests that weren't African. So it made that process easier on them because they don't have a tailor back in Africa that could help them sew something, and the tailors here might not know how to make it look culturally appropriate. So we took that out of their hands. We did the job of contacting every guest individually, whether by email or by phone. We took responsibility of getting every individual's measurements, getting every individual's design specifications, working with them, having a consultation with them of what exactly they would like. And then you also have the responsibility of making it, sending it off to them all in time for them to be guests at the wedding. Because timing and punctuality is very important for us, especially when it comes to weddings. We don't want brides or grooms pulling their hair out because it's a week to their wedding and they don't have their clothes, or their clothes is not fitting, or there's a problem.
Yeah, that's
So
an
we
issue.
have a policy of making sure for a wedding, the bride and groom have their clothing at least 1 month before their wedding, so they have time to try it on. It's mostly more than 1 month, more like closer to 2 months. You have time to try it on, make sure everything fits well, fits appropriately. Any adjustments are needed, any corrections are needed, you have enough time. And the same thing for your guests. If we're going to do that whole guest package, or actual meet, as we would say, then we give to them in due time so that they're comfortable, number one, and that they're not having a headache of, I'm going to be a guest at this wedding and I don't have anything to wear. So you try to, a big part of the business is, because we are a lot of people, Nigerians or from any culture, are not in Nigeria and Africa, is to reduce the stress level and the inconvenience of the distance. So we are that middle to make up for that distance by giving you the same sort of service you would receive in a high-end store in the States, but you're still getting that culture, authentic clothing without the headache that sometimes comes from, the distance and that sort.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's good to know. I'm learning a lot. So what about, do you have any clients in St. Louis?
Yeah, well, I mean, we have some of the players that are clients, and AZ, I know, has worn something on the fashion show. We've had some other players that have gotten some things, and also there's a Nigerian restaurant in St. Louis. The name just slipped my name, but the owner of the restaurant is actually close to a stadium. If I actually remember the name of it, it's Nigerian cuisine.
Okay.
So that's a shout out to them. The guy is a very nice guy. My brother met him first, but I went there. The food is very good. Good atmosphere, good ambiance. They have like Afro beach where the people can come in the night, and kind of like a lounge scene. But you also get very good food. So we're also going to be making some clothes for him and just some other people in the community. So we have some people that we have, and we hope to also continue to grow our reach in St. Louis. As well as everywhere in the States and everywhere around the world. We've done stuff for people in the UK and New Zealand, believe it or not, which is very
Wow.
far from here, but we made some clothes from people there. Obviously in Africa. Hopefully we can tap into South America and all the other continents. But yeah, so that's everything.
Very cool. So, what advice would you give to any aspiring fashion designer or aspiring fashion business entrepreneur who are just starting out?
Advice. They always, I've heard it says, advice is something everybody gives for free because they don't use it. But I'll try to give advice that I would use. In terms of anybody starting out, I would say number one, do something that you're passionate about or find an area that you're passionate about because passion helps you get through those tough times. I know it's, especially growing up, they always used to teach us, don't follow your passion because it's not going to pay. Well, the one that's not really true at times have changed. There's people making millions and millions off of YouTube just talking. And yourself, hopefully making millions and millions off of your podcast and stuff. And if not yet, we hope you'll get to after
Someday.
after this.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I would say find what you're passionate about, what you're willing to lose sleep about, what you're willing to not eat about, what you're willing to borderline not breathe about, and put your time and effort into that. If it's fashion, whatever area of fashion, if it is, it's women's fashion, men's fashion, whatever the case may be, find it. I would say do a lot of the groundwork early. I was very big on that in terms of before I wanted people screaming and shouting about Vaps. I wanted to make sure I did the groundwork and build the foundation that I and family and Vaps could stand on and not be worried about, oh, is it good enough? Is the quality good enough? We always hope to continue to improve and get better. But when you build a solid foundation and then you start to build the house on it, even if your house gets knocked down, you have that foundation, and that's what anybody that builds houses know. The foundation takes the longest time in building a building or whatever, and you have to dig deep and build it up to the surface. And there's a lot of surface area that people don't see because it's under the ground. But I would say build a solid foundation and putting in that work to know what you want to do, know how you want to do it, know why you want to do it, and know how you're going to effectively implement everything you want to do, and source out whether it's your fabrics, whether it's your designs, whether it's the people that you want to have on your team to bring it to life. Do all those things. Start with those. You might not be making money or all those kind of stuff, but that time that you take to build the foundation of your fashion brand or your design brand will pay in the long run. Because, like I said, you'll always have that foundation to fall on, and when it's solid, then you always know that, man, I can bet on this, and other people can bet on it also, because the work has been put in to make sure that it's at a high standard, that's a high quality, that I can bet on you saying, if somebody gets a Vaps clothing like I'm wearing now, it took some time and it took a lot of sleepless nights, but I can go to sleep knowing that it's gonna be good quality. I'm not saying that we're perfect or anything, but the person is not gonna complain about the quality of work, about the neatness of the work, about the finishing of the work. They might say, I thought the design would look like this and I would rather look like this. All that is fine, that's subjective. But in terms of the quality of work, the presentation, and the timely fashion in which you get things, the price point in which you, even though it's not going to be the cheapest thing in the world, because again, it's bespoke and it takes a lot of work to produce, you'll see the value in what you pay for, the longevity of the clothes, the lifespan of the clothes. You'll also see that in there. So all that is possible and will continue to be possible because of the foundation that was built, and making sure, I'm going to make sure that if I was giving this to my child or to my grandmother or to a stranger in New Zealand, I can bet on it and know that they're going to get a good quality product.
So that's great. That's great advice. Foundation, I 100% agree with on any business that you start. You can't skip any steps in the beginning and think you're going to be successful without having that foundation. What are your long-term goals and plans for Vaps?
Long-term plans is continued growth. I've heard it saying you have a lot of what we call proverbs in our language or in our culture. It's like wise sayings, and they're always like, be careful of who you tell your dreams, because your brain might not be big enough to handle it, and you might send it down. But yeah, I really have, my vision is to have native wear, in that style, native wear, be the new corporate wear. For example, you see people going to the office, at least when I was growing up, in a suit and tie. People don't wear ties as much anymore, but at least a dress shirt and pants. That's, I believe, or our native wear, I believe, is even more comfortable than a suit and tie. We make suits and we make ties and all those kind of things, but native wear is kind of a fusion of formal, but it's also comfortable because it's just like a top and a bottom, but it's made in a way that looks very good, so it looks businessy. So I would like to tap into the market anywhere, to where when somebody wears a fast outfit to the office, they're going to look at it like if somebody was wearing a three-piece suit. So obviously, maybe not a pink color like I'm wearing now, but we have your standard navies, blacks, grays, creams that you can make. And when you wear it, whether in short sleeve or long sleeve, the long sleeves have a space for cufflinks, so it's like a dress shirt. We even have what we call they call safari suits, which is like a native that's long sleeve. It has a collar that looks like a dress shirt, and it's even what some people consider more traditionally formal. So we make things like that. So I would like that to be a thing. So there's somebody in an office building, where there was Warren Buffett or the president or LeBron James or anybody wore it and they wore it to the office, they will see it in the same light as if they were wearing a suit from Italy or France or anywhere.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, you don't see ties being worn as much as they used to be, and I'd like to get away from that myself. All right, I got a couple more questions for you. Not all of them are fashion related, but what is your favorite cuisine or food? What do you like? What's your favorite food?
Well, I mean, I guess before somebody throws stones at me, I always have to say Nigerian food.
I
No, but I'm not a big food person. I kind of just eat to live as opposed to living. But I do like good quality food. But when it comes to Nigerian food, and funny enough, my little sister was she actually made it today. It's called amala. So it's a delicacy that you actually see at weddings. It's like a big thing. We call it which is like you'll see a typically older woman. She'll be there making it at the wedding or at the reception. She'll have a section where she's making it. She's already prepared the soups and stews that and the meats that go with it. And then they serve it in a bowl right there in front of you. And it's like a very traditional food that we eat. You can eat on a daily basis, but it's popular at weddings, especially from our tribe of Nigeria. So amala begiri activity is something that is one of my best meals. Don't eat it too often, like I said. As a sports person, you can't be eating that all the time. But my favorite. But I've lived in a lot of different countries and been in a lot of different cultures. So, like Asian food, different foods from different places. Lived in Portugal, Spain, and Germany, and those kind of places. Some different things from different places. So, yeah, that home is always home. So.
Right. So, besides Nigeria, what is your favorite place to visit?
To visit. Well, one of my favorite places that I've lived is Portugal. I was in Portugal for about 2 years. So that's somewhere I felt at home, learned the language. So Portugal is a beautiful country and somewhere I love to be. Malaysia, I lived there with my father when I was younger, and I know it's a very beautiful country, a nice place to be. Nigeria is beautiful also. Africa in general, East Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, those areas are very beautiful. Nigeria is a very beautiful and Africa, sorry, is a very beautiful and diverse continent. So it's a very nice place to be. You can go from the mountains to the safari to the beaches to the desert.
Okay. What is your go-to when you style yourself or dress yourself? What is your go-to color?
Color. You know, the crazy thing is, as somebody is like, I don't know if you use the word boss or whatever, but part of a brand, I can't really stick to a color because I'm kind of like a walking billboard for the brand.
Yeah.
So you gotta always mix it up so people see different things, because one day they might see this and they're like, I never seen that before, and that's what catches their eye. So I don't get the luxury of sticking to one color. Honestly, in my natural state, it's simple, solid colors. Your typical grays, blacks, navies, that I normally stick to. But yeah, like I said, I don't really get the luxury of doing that as much because you gotta show off the different styles and colors.
Right. You gotta push the brand.
Exactly. And so,
Well, thank you for joining us today. I learned a lot, and I'm excited to see the Vaps brand grow, especially here in St. Louis with Sam here, and you know you're here often too.
yes, sir.
Can you tell us how to find you on your site and socials and all that? Can you spell
Yes,
that
sir.
out?
So our website is www.vapsdc.com. So that's vapsdc.com. That's our website. On social media, on Instagram, we're Vaps Dynasty Clothing. So just type in Vaps Dynasty Clothing. Once you start to type Vaps in, it's not really one of the things that come up. And Twitter is not, we're not too much. We're on Twitter, but it's not on the bigger platforms that we use. But Vaps DC is on there. But the website, vapsdc.com, and Vaps Dynasty Clothing, and Vaps Formal on Instagram also. Because we have 2 pages, one for the more traditional side, and then one for the more formal side, where you'll see suits like your typical Italian suits, your British suits. Yeah, that's Vaps Dynasty Clothing on Instagram and Vaps Formal on Instagram too.
Okay, very cool. Well, thanks everyone for watching and for listening. Please like and subscribe and share, do all those things, and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you, Mr. Dwight, for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir.